Hey gang, hope you're doing well. Pia's Beauty Review, as you know if you've been here before. Um, I'm thinking about changing the name, but I'm not quite sure. I've been Pia's Beauty Review now for 2 or 3 years, whatever it's been now, but that's besides the point. The reason that I came here today, I was on a long trip. I'm in a hotel for a meeting. I've got great natural lighting coming in through a window that faces out to a garage, so I don't have anybody looking at me, which is fantastic. But the reason that I wanted to come on here, I want to post more. I want to put out more videos. But the main reason was you need to know that you are enough. And you might be looking at me and saying, "Oh, what do you mean I'm enough?" In our society, there are so many that pass judgment. They don't pass judgment on themselves, but they pass judgment on everyone else around them. Whether it be their hair color or style, whether they're heavy, whether they're too thin, what kind of clothes they wear. You are enough just the way you are. And it doesn't mean a hill of beans what other people think. Some people don't like my top. I do, and that's all that matters. Some people may not like me having long hair, which I had it up in a clip and I decided to take it out for filming sake. Some people might not like it, or like that I have curly versus straight, or wish it were curlier, or wish it were black or blonde or redhead or gray or what, which I've got plenty of grays. But growing up, for me, I never felt enough. I never felt good enough. I never felt smart enough. I never felt pretty enough. I've never felt thin enough. I've never felt enough. And that stops today. Not only for me, but for you too. I don't want you to, let me back up. We're our own worst critic. No matter what it is, where it is, why it is. We are harder on ourselves, a million times harder on ourselves than anyone else around us would ever think of being. And yet we chastise ourselves. So not only are you enough in other people's eyes, you are especially enough in your own eyes. And you have to see the value of yourself. If your mind is anything like mine, my mind is going 40,000 miles an hour, umpteen different thoughts going through my brain at all times, and one little thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And it usually leads down a path of self-destruction. And what ends up happening for me is that I look down on myself. I'm not good enough. If you're old enough to remember this, Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live, kudos to you, high five. But there may be some of you who aren't. And he was just kind of a spoof. Sorry about the lighting. I shouldn't be waving my hands around. But he would look in the mirror, or if he would have a special guest on, he would have them look in the mirror and say, "I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me." And we used to laugh about that. It made us all laugh. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with giving yourself a pep talk, to talking to yourself and encouraging yourself. It tells us in the Bible that we're to stir ourselves happy. We need to stir ourselves up, because sometimes, a lot of times, in this world, there are people who would rather see us fail than to flourish. And it's so wrong, but it is the truth of what happens. And a lot of times it's us within ourselves because we beat ourselves up. You know, I've never been able to do it, so why should now be any different? I can never do that. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm not strong enough for that. I can't do that. Why? You know, I've tried before and I failed, and so, you know, why bother? And it's just pressed in on me so hard. I saw an Instagram pic that somebody posted that said, "You're enough." I'm currently listening to an Audible book. It is by Christine Kane. Let me see if I can bring it up and I'll show it to you. And it's called Unashamed. And there it is there, if you can see it. And if you are like me and dealing with guilt and shame and, you know, all these things that are weighing you down in life, including yourself, I encourage you to give it a listen. I'm between a fourth and a half way through it so far, and it's good information, but it made me angry. It made me angry from the standpoint of, yeah, I dealt with a lot of that crap growing up. When I was in school, story time, when I was in school, because I was heavier, not as heavy as I am now, but I was always heavier than everybody else. And one of the boys in my grade gave me the nickname Boom Boom. And you're going, what? Boom Boom, why is that? Because he said that as I walked down the hall, it was like I went boom, 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 boom. For some people, that would have driven them to the point of diet pills, starvation, whatever. You have to remember, for one, this was in probably fourth or fifth grade. And you also have to remember that, you know, how would I have access to any pills or anything anyway? But for some people, like me, it drove me to eat. Because food growing up was my only comfort. It was the one thing that would never lie to me. It would never call me names. It would never scream at me. It would never belittle me. It would comfort me. I would eat to the point, and still sometimes do, and I'm starting to try to eat clean, and I'll explain that in a minute, but for other reasons. But I would eat to the point of sheer just so stuffed that all I could concentrate on was my misery, and I didn't think about what other people were saying to me or about me, or me to myself as a result. And it's kind of like Adam and Eve in the garden, you know, when God told them, don't eat of this tree, you know, because, you know, in essence, they were going to be awarded all this knowledge, this same knowledge of God. They would end up feeling guilt and shame and embarrassment and all these things. And I think sometimes when we are children, if you have a stable, good home life as a child, you, before going to school, you kind of are in this cocoon, so to speak, and you have this great idea, this beautiful idea of that everybody's nice and everybody's good and nobody's mean and everything is just wonderful. And then when you go to school and you meet some people that you've never met before and they start speaking negative things to you, it's almost like you're Eve eating that apple, and, you know, so many things that you never saw before are being revealed to you. Sorry, got hair in my mouth. Anyway, and kids are cruel, but anyway, for me, I wouldn't turn the other way. I would turn to food as my source of comfort. And, as you can see, I've always done that. I've always done that. I want to touch on this quick before I end this video because I've got to keep it short, but I went to the doctor on Monday, and she told me that I have the start of arthritis in my knees. She also told me that, I had said to her, I'm sure losing weight would help. She said, absolutely. She said, do you know that for every pound of weight you lose, it takes 5 pounds of pressure off of your knees? And that really, somebody else had told me it took 4 pounds of pressure off, but I don't know why. I just didn't really hear it at that point in time. But because my knees have been in so much pain, it just really resonated in my mind. And so what I'm starting out with is trying to eat clean. I've been eating more salad and fruits and stuff the last 3 days. I just started Monday, and it was a good Monday yesterday and so far today. And trying to wean myself off of sugars. I could eat sugar till the cows come home. I just got a sweet tooth the size of Texas. But anyway, so I'm going to start trying to eat clean. And, if I lose 20 pounds, that takes 100 pounds of pressure off my knees. Hallelujah. And hopefully I'll be able to walk without being in pain. But anyway, I need to wrap this up. But the main focus of this video is to tell you that you are enough. I don't care what somebody at school may have said to you, or at work, or a friend, or an acquaintance, or a total stranger. I don't care what they say. And I want you to get in front of the mirror and remind yourself daily, I am enough. Just how I am, right at this moment, I am enough. So I pray that you're healthy, that you're happy, that you're safe. And I pray that you have peace in your life. Till we meet again, my friends, have a great remainder of the week. I'll be coming back again with some more videos. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.